It was supposed to be a simple evening stroll, just me and my dog, Baxter. But what began as a peaceful walk quickly spiraled into a nightmare when I encountered 3 men who saw me as an easy target. Little did they know, Baxter was not just any dog. He was their worst nightmare. This is the story of how one unexpected encounter taught those men a lesson they would never forget. My name is Clara Jenkins. At 67 years old, I've lived in my neighborhood long enough to recognize when something feels off. Usually, it's a serene area, far removed from the chaos of the city. However, sometimes that tranquility can be deceiving. Every evening around 10 p.m., I take Baxter out for our nightly ritual. Just the 2 of us enjoying the cool night air. Baxter isn't your average dog. He's a German Shepherd, large enough to intimidate anyone who doesn't know him. In fact, he used to be a police Canine. After retiring due to an injury, I was fortunate enough to adopt him. He's not just my pet, he's my shadow, my protector. That night felt like any other until I turned a corner and spotted 3 men loitering under a flickering streetlight. Their silhouettes stretched ominously across the pavement, and my instincts kicked in. Baxter sensed it too. His ears perked up, and a low growl emanated from his throat. One of the men noticed us and smirked, nudging his companions. "Hey, look at that. Grandma's out for a stroll with her big bad wolf," he mocked, laughter echoing through the stillness. The others joined in, throwing out cruel jabs, completely unaware of the danger they were about to face. Baxter moved closer to me, his body tense, his growl escalating into a deep, commanding bark. This was no longer harmless teasing. The men had a different intent in their eyes. I tightened my grip on Baxter's leash, bracing myself for whatever was to come. One of the men reached into his pocket, pulling out a metallic object that gleamed ominously in the dim light. "Don't worry, Grandma," he sneered. "This will be over before you even blink." My heart raced, but I refused to show fear. Baxter, however, was ready, his growl transforming into a fierce bark, daring them to come any closer. The tallest of the 3 stepped forward, taunting, "Call off your dog," or... But before he could finish, Baxter lunged, stopping just short of him, teeth bared and growling like thunder. The man jumped back, his bravado evaporating in an instant. "Whoa, okay, chill out, mutt," he exclaimed, but Baxter wasn't backing down. He was locked in, ready to defend me at all costs. "Baxter doesn't back down," I said firmly, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. "So unless you want to find out what happens next, I suggest you rethink your life choices." They didn't know who Baxter really was, but they were about to find out. The man with the metallic object stepped closer, his grin replaced by a menacing glare. "Let's see how tough your dog really is," he snarled, taking another step forward. Big mistake. Before he could make his move, Baxter darted forward like lightning, jaws snapping onto the man's arm with precision. This was no wild attack. It was calculated, deliberate. The man screamed, his voice piercing the night. "Get this crazy dog off me." The other 2 men stood frozen, their bravado crumbling into panic. "What the heck is wrong with this dog?" one stammered, clearly realizing they had underestimated Baxter. Baxter, still holding the first man by the arm, yanked him off balance, sending him crashing to the ground. The metallic object clattered away, forgotten. The taller man, snapping out of his shock, rushed forward, grabbing a chunk of wood from the ground. The 3rd man hesitated, clearly second-guessing his choices, but ultimately followed, muttering, "This dog's not normal." As they charged at us, Baxter remained unfazed, his focus razor-sharp. "Baxter, watch out," I yelled, stepping back as one swung the wooden piece. But Baxter moved with an agility that defied belief, dodging the swing effortlessly and lunging at the taller man, knocking him backward like a linebacker tackling an opponent. Okay, I get it," the man stuttered, hands raised in surrender. The 3rd guy stood frozen, his face pale, clearly regretting his decisions. "This isn't just some dog," he whispered, his voice trembling. And he was absolutely right. Baxter was a former officer, trained to handle situations exactly like this. The chaos reached a boiling point as the remaining 2 men lunged at us again. One swung a rusty metal pipe, but Baxter sidestepped with ease, causing the man to lose his balance. In a flash, Baxter lunged again, knocking him flat on his back, teeth bared, growling a low warning. "Get it off me! Help me!" the man cried, his tough guy facade shattered. The third man, still clutching his head from my handbag swing, looked between me and Baxter, realization dawning. "This is insane," he muttered, taking a step back. "Are you just figuring that out now?" I shot back, gripping my bag tightly. "Narrate." As the sirens approached in the distance, I dialed the police. "Yes, I need officers at Parkside Avenue," I said, my voice steady. 3 men tried to attack me, but my dog stopped them. When the police arrived, the officers were surprised to see Baxter standing guard. "No way, is that Baxter?" one officer exclaimed, recognition dawning on him. "I worked with this guy back when he was on the force," he continued. "Best Canine we ever had." Baxter, ever the professional, stood tall, his tail wagging slightly as if to say, "Yeah, it's me." The next morning, news of our encounter spread like wildfire. Local headlines hailed senior citizen and her hero, dog takedown would-be attackers. I opened my door to find a swarm of reporters, cameras flashing, eager for a statement. "Miss Jenkins, how does it feel to have a dog being called a local hero?" one asked, shoving a microphone in my direction. "Well," I replied, glancing down at Baxter, "I'd say I'm feeling a lot better than those 3 fools from last night." Baxter stood proudly beside me, his ears perked up, ready for his close-up. As the day progressed, gifts began arriving: dog treats, chew toys, and even handwritten thank you notes from strangers. One package included a shiny new collar with a tag that read, "Baxter the Brave." "You're famous now, buddy," I said, holding it up. His tail wagged in acknowledgement. Later, a neighbor and her daughter visited, the little girl shyly presenting me with a crayon drawing of Baxter in a superhero cape. "Thank you for keeping our neighborhood safe," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Baxter leaned down to nuzzle her hand, and my heart swelled with pride. By the time the sun set, the house was quiet again. I sat on the couch with Baxter, scrolling through social media posts about our adventure. The comments ranged from, "What a legend," to, "Can we get a Baxter statue in the park?" A few weeks later, while walking Baxter along our usual route, I noticed a shiny new plaque mounted on a post. It read, "Here, Baxter the hero dog protected his owner Clara Jenkins with bravery and loyalty." I stopped, staring at it, then looked down at Baxter, who sniffed the air, blissfully unaware of his newfound celebrity status. "Well, would you look at that, buddy?" I said, crouching down to ruffle his fur. "They gave you your very own sign. Guess you're officially a big deal now." Baxter wagged his tail, giving me a look that seemed to say, "Told you I was special." Mauert, the neighborhood felt different now, safer, more connected. People waved as we passed, and kids ran up to pet Baxter, calling him Super Dog or the Legend. For me, life returned to normal. I still walked Baxter every night and enjoyed my morning coffee on the porch. But that night, I reflected on more than just the events that unfolded. It reminded me of the essence of courage. Courage isn't just about being strong. It's about trusting those who stand by your side and knowing you don't have to face challenges alone. As we headed home, I glanced back at the plaque one last time, smiling to myself. Baxter trotted beside me, calm and confident, ready for whatever life threw our way next. Because if there's one thing I learned from that night, it's that sometimes the biggest lessons come from the most unexpected heroes. And in this story, Baxter was the hero we all needed, a testament to the power of loyalty, bravery, and standing up for what's right.